Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live webinar here from the International University of Monaco. And we're here to discuss the Monaco MBA program specifically, and also to discuss, why do an MBA in general? It's a big decision for anyone's life. So we're just going to have a chat about these various issues. And I'd first just want to introduce myself. So my name is Marika Taishoff. I'm originally from the States, from New York City. I've worked at different business schools. I've worked at IMD in Lausanne, Bocconi in Milan, Imperial College Management School in London, and of course here at IUM, where I've been the program director for, I think the past 8 years or something like that at this stage. So I'm going to sort of moderate this discussion, and we'll try to answer some questions. And with me today, we have Priya,
Hello.
Who is a current MBA student, and Gri, who graduated last year. So maybe I'll start with Priya first. So why did you decide to do an MBA in general? And secondly, why an MBA here at the University of Monaco?
Hello, guys. I'm Priya from Mauritius. So for me, it was more like a career shift I wanted to do. I've been working as a flight attendant for 8 years, and I really wanted to do something new, which would equip me with the necessary skills and talents to go forward in life. And that was like the most in the business side of things. And why I chose Monaco and IUM specifically is mostly because Monaco is kind of a multicultural site, location. We have a multicultural student body, and then we have small class sizes. And IUM, I thought, because you people have, like, from the university, you have access to the proper network of individuals and entrepreneurs who will give me the boost to go forward in my new projects and get skilled and necessary contacts.
Right.
I think that was the reasons I chose IUM and Monaco.
Okay, excellent. And you've already met some people who are helping you shape your ideas in terms of what you want to do in the future?
Actually, yes, I did. And that was quite a pleasant surprise because I just heard about it before coming. And then that's the real thing happening now, where I get to meet many individuals from different streams of life, which add to the bonus of honing my talents and putting me into better circumstances to face the realities we're facing.
Right. I mean, there's something about the MBA in general. I think once one does an MBA, one begins to realize that there's so many things one doesn't really know about, and there's so many different kind of skills and opportunities out there. And it gives you that time and that space to really begin focusing on them, honing them, discovering new things and new skills, new strengths that you might not have known you had.
Yes, exactly. That's the right thing. Things you get to discover in yourself, and how to really manage people in your class from different backgrounds, different cultures. It's not always very easy, and you have preconceived ideas that things are going to go smooth, but it's really challenging and put you in like real life situations where you get to meet other kinds of people from different walks of life. It's a really nice experience. It's really enriching.
Right. Yeah. Real life experience.
Real life experience.
Great. Okay. And Gri?
Yes.
Why did you decide to do an MBA, and what has the MBA brought to you? Because you came into the program, you were already a successful entrepreneur. You had your own business, which was actually not just based in Scandinavia, but basically around Europe as well. So, I mean, what has doing the MBA brought to you professionally?
So I think my name is Gry and I'm from Norway. That's also where I started my company, Glenda Wedding. So before doing the MBA, I started my business 5 years before that. And, as an entrepreneur, you learn so much just by doing. But I think I came to a part where I wanted to get some structure around everything. I knew my bachelor was in business, so I had some of the framework. But at the same time, I wanted to dive in. And what I really liked about the program here, it's a very intense 1-year program. So you're not taking 2 years out of your life, which a lot of programs are. You're kind of coming in quickly, and it's very intense, which worked very well for my business and for me to not be away too long. And what I saw was just, you kind of just refresh all the framework a little bit, what you guys talked about. And for me, it was the best. I loved it. I really did. Right there and then when I was in your shoes, it was tough. Like, it's a lot to do and it's an intense program. But afterwards, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many tools now that I can use and that I've gone back and I want to use in my company, but I also wanted to of course, after learning so much new, you're like, oh my gosh, how can I use all this new information? So now I'm working at another company that is also within the wedding industry, but kind of branching out and just seeing, okay, how can you scale up? How can you go in many ways bigger than what you already did? And I think that's what's great with the MBA. It gives you new ideas, a new way of looking at things, and you can kind of, what you already had is great, but you just build on that, and then you can create something even more exciting. And for me also doing the MBA, I really realized I love to study, which which actually I know, like, probably as a student it seemed like, oh yeah, she really liked to study, but before that I didn't. Like my bachelor, I did it on the side as a online. I just did it to get some, to be honest, some money for my business. I could do my business. I wasn't a student person, but then coming in here and diving in, it was just so enriching and I loved it. So now I want to continue studying and doing more, and that's all because this MBA program as well.
Yeah, and you discovered some newfound skills in finance, and
yes,
quantitative subjects, and I think you were as astounded as some of us were, because this person with that background won't like corporate finance or stats, and you were the star.
That was the class I was most afraid of, because I was like, oh my gosh, as an entrepreneur, you always have to do the finance part, but it's always like, oh, a little bit of a dread. It's like, you just have to do it. I don't know how many times my accountant had to like explain me things. And then I came here and I even said to the professors, I was like, these classes of corporate finance, I'm really scared of this class. And then I just loved it. Like it was, it was amazing. You learned so much. And that was great. Yeah.
Super. And I think also amongst your faculty members, you found some people who are willing to help you and mentor you as well with your business. Because again, we have relatively small class size here at the University of Monaco for the MBA, and that's deliberate, which means that the professors and the students can work very closely together.
Yeah.
And I know some faculty really had an interest in your projects and
yes.
wanted to be involved and guide you.
I have to say, that's the beauty here. It's because the classes are so small, not only do you get to know your classmates really well, but the professors and the faculty. And, you get personal relationships where you kind of just coming in thinking, well, that's the professor, and you of course put them very high. And I was doing this webinar 2 years ago before coming here and seeing Mark, and I was like, oh my gosh, that professor, is like also a little bit intimidating. But then you get there and you start talking, and it's like, and I needed some guiding and some help for a possible PhD program, and I could just contact Marika right away, and she helped me like in the middle of the night when really she shouldn't have been, but she does. And it's these kind of relationships you build, and it's great for the future. So
super great. And also you touched upon some issues we're going to discuss in more depth. For instance, the length of the program. It's a 10-month program, but there's also the option, if you like, to do it over 2 years on a part-time basis. But we'll go into those details in a bit. So, why choose the MBA here in Monaco? And there's something very special about Monaco, many special things about Monaco. Monaco has extreme expertise in certain areas. And, I think off the top of our heads, we know that. One is luxury. The whole principality was really built on the notion of providing luxury services. Related to that, of course, is wealth management, because once you have luxury, you need to have services which will provide, shall we say, management services to the wealthy. And of course, entrepreneurship. Monaco itself is very entrepreneurial. I just finished writing 2 case studies on the Principality of Monaco, so I know this in depth. Okay, and it's really the core of Monaco is entrepreneurial, and it's always attracted many entrepreneurs. So those are the 3 pillars really of what makes Monaco unique. It's focused on luxury and its expertise in luxury, in wealth management, and entrepreneurship and innovation. Another reason to choose the Monaco MBA, as I just mentioned, in fact, is that you can choose your own pace of study, the duration and pace. So if you have the time and you have the ability to come to Monaco, you can do the program within 10 months, which is quite unique amongst MBA programs. Many in the States are 2 years, 18 months. We have a 10-month MBA program. It's intensive, but if you manage your time well, anything's possible. I mean, Bree can attest to that, right? Okay. But also, if you can't come to Monaco, or if you have a full-time job, you can't leave. Basically, you can also decide to do it part-time, which is basically 20 months. And most of that program will be online. We have 4 masterclass weeks. You'll have to attend 4, but spread over the 2 years. And again, that's designed specifically for those students who either cannot leave their jobs or their home countries, or would prefer stretching it over 2 years. The fee is the same. and the courses are exactly the same. It's the same professor, the same assignments. You'll be working in groups with the full-time students as well. This is certainly something you're used to, right, Priya?
Yep.
You work with students all over the world,
Part-timers.
part-timers, that's right. Okay. Another good reason, of course, is that we are accredited by the Association of MBAs, and there are, in fact, very few MBA programs around the world which are AMBA accredited. So you certainly want to look for a program which is AMBA accredited because that gives it credibility and it shows that it does, shall we say, correspond to standards in business education. We have a very unique career and personal development program where basically students are coached and mentored by leadership coaches, by recruiters, and we have a specific young woman who comes in once a week who's actually an international executive recruiter who works with our students, with our MBA students exclusively and helps them. I think you've worked a lot with Caroline, yes, and so this is something else as well. So it's not just study, but it's also preparing you either for a career or helping you build your own business. And another thing is, we've been ranked amongst the Economist which MBA top global MBA programs in the world, top 100 global MBA programs in the world for many years now. So we're very happy about that. We're very proud about that, to be a small school and ranked in the top 100 global MBA programs by The Economist. Okay, so that was sort of the what in terms of what makes the Monaco MBA unique and why you should be considering it. Another element is where, and the two are very closely linked, I think. So if you think about, the old adage, location, location, location in real estate, well, that really means a lot in education as well. Monaco, and again, I think, my two classmates, colleagues can attest to that, is not just, a beautiful little principality on the Mediterranean. I mean, it is, but I mean, it has more than that, right? It's a very dynamic environment. Entrepreneurship is very heavily promoted by the principality. There's an incubator here, an accelerator here. It's rapidly evolving. It's growing very quickly. And it really is home to very many dynamic professional individuals. We also try to ensure that our students have an opportunity to meet with the decision makers in Monaco, be they from the government, be they from the private sector, from the public sector. We have a mentorship program, which I'll discuss in more detail as well, which basically pairs students together with a professional or an entrepreneur in the field or from the area of expertise that a student really wants to focus on. I think you had a very interesting mentor. You might have had two even, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I was supposed to have two, but yeah, I mainly had one.
Okay.
That was very active and really helped. And I think you're supposed to have a certain time of meet. And he was like, no, let's just meet as much as you kind of need to. And no, it was amazing. And it was really good to have someone also outside, sometimes to just kind of clear your mind and keep in, because sometimes it's hard to know what direction you're taking when you're in it, because there's so much and so many interesting ways to go. So it's nice to have someone who's like not in the school environment, but like outside and kind of, just guides you along a little bit.
Right, yeah. And that's part of our overall educational pedagogical philosophy. We really try to focus on the experiential active learning, not just in the classroom, but outside the classroom as well, because that's where you get the real benefit of doing an MBA in general, and especially an MBA in a place like Monaco. I think, Priya, you've also met with your mentor already?
I did. And that was really helpful, the way his approach. I went with the mindset of approaching him just to talk about business, but he's like more well-versed with other fields which could help me rather than just focusing on my business idea. And he helped me in other fields, like for my own personal development and more than the business, like starting with the personal development and then gearing towards what's really made for me, right? Like the business I wanted to do. And that's really helpful.
Yeah. And again, that's part of our overall philosophy here at IUM. Okay. Another thing you might not know is that Monaco is also a venue for global conferences, congresses, etc. So there are lots of people who come into Monaco basically almost on a weekly basis from different companies, different industries, etc. And of course, our students have the opportunity to mix and mingle with these individuals as well. So Monaco is a very, very dynamic place, as well as being a beautiful little gem on the French Riviera, which is also very safe, very clean, and very exciting. Okay, go quickly in terms of, who. So who will you be interacting with as a student here? Well, certainly you have faculty, and we have faculty from all over the world. The MBA faculty, for the most part, 90% have PhDs in their field. We also have visiting faculty from some of the best business schools in the world. So they will come in and teach very specific courses at a specific time of the year. So you get perspectives from different kinds of faculty as well, not just from the faculty who teach full-time here at Monaco, but also faculty from, from Milan, faculty from Venice, faculty from Madrid, from London, etc. So that's also sort of this broad, diverse faculty body that we have. We also have faculty who are what we call adjunct faculty, and these are professionals in the field. Because again, the courses that are especially oriented, let's say, towards some of the electives, which you can take if you want to take electives, let's say in luxury or wealth management, we have actual professionals from those fields coming in and teaching those courses, because you get the theoretical background from the full-time faculty, you get the practical insights from the adjunct faculty, who basically have their own firms in Monaco or elsewhere in the fields of luxury, in the fields of wealth management, asset management, etc. So again, a very diverse and very experiential kind of faculty. Also, as I mentioned, we have the mentorship program, where mentors are selected specifically based on the profile of each student. And typically these work out very well. We say they must meet at least 4 times a year. Typically they meet, as your case, a lot more than 4 times a year. And it's a very good sounding board. And the mentors enjoy meeting with our students, because for them, these are, young, ambitious, diverse individuals who are looking for something new in their lives. And for the mentors, it's great to meet these people, because where else can they meet, this kind of group of young, ambitious people. And as I mentioned before, we also have career and executive coaches. We have full-time career and executive coaches, and they also bring in recruiters, headhunters, HR directors from various sectors to help hone the professional development skills, the soft skills, which are also very important. And how, as I mentioned, basically we have 2 options. You can follow it full-time, 10 months. You'll have to come here to Monaco, which is not a bad place to come. I say most of our students, in fact, live nearby in France, but the school is here in Monaco. Or you can do it part-time over 20 months. And you can do that either online, or if you're basically a resident or working in the Monaco area, you can also do it, as we do have some students who are doing a part-time program, but over 2 years. So they only take half the courses each year, and they work the other part of the year. And again, you can see the Monaco, the pillars of our program, what they're based on, what the program is based on. The idea is to understand the big picture and how that can impact business, understanding business markets. How do we spot opportunities? How do we grow opportunities? Understanding, the financial aspects, resource management aspects, operational aspects, understanding people. I mean, one of the hardest parts of managing a business is managing people. And I think, Priya, you mentioned that as well. It's one of the learning experiences of an MBA. And then integrating it all, seeing how all these pieces fit together. And we do that through the corporate consulting project, through an individual business plan, and through the business simulation. So again, very hands-on, very active learning and experiential learning. And I think that's it for the presentation. We are now all open for any questions you may have. And we look forward to coming across some questions.
So the question was, do you have to take the GMAT?
It's a very good question. We used to require the GMAT, and then we noticed a few years ago that there was no real correlation between how well a student performed on the GMAT and how well a student performed in the course and also professionally. So, we had some students who had 700s in the GMAT, which is very high, but they really were not very good students because they lacked some of the social skills, the emotional skills, leadership skills. So they didn't do well in the program, they didn't do well afterwards. So we said, why should we require a GMAT if there's no real correlation between that and success? Also, because we have a small program, it's easy for me to read every file. So it's not as though I'm looking for a threshold, okay, we have 800 files come in for 300 places. We're much smaller than that. If we had 800 files for 300 places, of course we'd want a GMAT because nobody can read 800 files. We might have 150 files for 30 places, and I can go through 150 files. So we don't require the GMAT or the GRE. We look at the overall person.
So how big are the class sizes?
I would say they vary between about, this year, it's about 30 if we consider the full-time students, the part-time students who entered this year and the part-time students who joined last year. So all told, it's 30, but I'd say on average it's about 20 to 25. Okay, so again, small class size, which is what we want as well.
So next one, could I work and do the MBA? You mentioned a little.
Yes, yes, you could, absolutely. We do have students who work and who are doing the MBA. They follow the part-time program. It's still intensive, but the aim here is to allow you to follow the same curriculum, follow the same professors, do the same assignments, and even interact with full-time students, but doing it part-time. And again, as I said, you can do it part-time residentially, assuming you're living and or working in this region. And we have two or three students this year who are like that. Or you can do it online. So yes, you can certainly work and continue.
Is work experience required?
Yes, we require a minimum of 3 years of work experience. On average, I mean, this year, I think the work experience is about 11 years. And on average, it's about 8 to 9 years of work experience. So we do require work experience. And that makes a big difference in terms of the profile of the cohort. There are some MBA programs that do not require work experience, especially in the US. And the level of interaction is totally different because if the students haven't actually worked, they don't really understand the dynamics of management. So yeah, we do require work experience.
Question, do we have internship programs?
At the MBA level, we don't have internship programs, and there are several very good reasons for that. First of all, in this part of the world, Italy, France, if you're over 26, you're not eligible to be an intern. It's part of the legal system here. The average age of the MBA this year is, I think, 33 or 34, something like that. And we've never had, an average age less than, since we say 26. So that's one element. The other element is internships tend not to be very fulfilling or productive. They tend to be entry-level jobs, entry-level tasks with, no disrespect to interns anywhere in the world, of course, but they don't really fit the profile of an MBA student. So rather than internship, what we offer are the corporate consulting projects, which are actual projects given to us by companies. So last year we worked with Lufthansa, and I know Brie was very active in that particular project.
Yes, no, it was a great experience because we got to fly out to Munich, a few of us, and meet with the people there and have a proper presentation, and you kind of get to go out into the real world. At the same time, it was a great way of kind of using everything you learned throughout the year because this is at the end of the program. So it was a lot of fun.
So again, it's the kind of project which a consulting company would actually work on. And this is the way the companies came to us. So we had one with Lufthansa last year. The previous year we had Pernod Ricard. We worked with Fendi Casa. So a variety of different companies from around the world, not just based here in Monaco. And this kind of project is something which is very valuable as well to put on your CV. And it also allows you to develop contacts within those companies and within those industries. So that's what we prefer instead of an internship. Alternatively, a student can also do an individual business plan if you already have an idea for a business plan. Or you can do both, because you actually did both. Yeah. You loved studying so much that you just couldn't stop.
It was, I already had a business, but at the same time, I was like, okay, well, I'm here, and why not just take as much out of it as you can? And sometimes you feel like there's so much going on, and yes, there is. But at the same time, it's like you already paid for the program, and it's the same amount of money. Why not try and do as much as possible? So I tried to do that, and my business plan, it was also very at the end. And I was like, okay, I just need to kind of get something together. But then when I started it all exploded, and I spent like 4 days where that was all I did. Like I hardly slept. And out of that came a new business that I wanted to start the minute I finished the MBA program. So for me, that was just basically wrapping everything up. And I pretty much gone the whole year trying to figure out, okay, how can I use this? And the business plan just brought it all together, because you kind of force yourself to sit down and focus. Okay, what could I do? So that was a great thing to be able to take part in.
How did the career office support the students?
Okay, variety of ways. Certainly the director of career services meets with the students regularly. She has meetings at the very beginning. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you deal with her on a very sort of intense basis. So the very beginning of the program, the director of career and corporate services meets with each MBA student to get a profile, our leadership and executive coach also meets with students to get a sort of a personal profile in terms of what kind of personality does a student have. And they work together, first of all, to try to identify mentors, to help students in terms of career paths. Some students come here and they want to change careers, but they don't really know what they want to do. So basically, Career Services helps with that. They help with online branding, building your own brand. Okay. And thank you very much. Actually, I've just learned as well that there's going to be a webinar on career services at IUM coming soon. So stay tuned. Okay. And there'll be a specific webinar on that. I don't know if you'd like to add anything in terms of career services.
I think with career services, really, it's also a little bit what you want to make of it yourself, because especially Caroline, she was available. So you just had to schedule, and you could kind of schedule as obviously she's a busy woman, but you could really get in your time. So it depends on you as well, what you want out of it. If you really want someone to guide you, it was an amazing opportunity to get that help. And even just to talk, because sometimes you're not sure what you need help with or whatever, but they're very good at just getting it out of you.
And the personal test also to make you go through makes you know yourself better and maybe try to know exactly what you're up for and what you're more able to do and what are your faults and what are your weaknesses, and that really helps to make you progress and go forward.
And also when we had support, I think you guys have had it already, when there was like people coming in and listening to presentation. Yes, exactly. So there's things, and it's just, it puts you on the spot, so you kind of push yourself and things you wouldn't necessarily do.
That's true. And then just on a practical basis, between Sophie and Carolyn, who basically make up our careers department, they both have a huge network of contacts across various industries, and they're very, very generous in terms of sharing those contacts. So.
I think Sophie, she knows everyone.
That's just about, and not just in Monaco.
Yes. And networking is like one of the main pillars that we really need, to really progress and go get the necessary contacts, go forward.
Right.
And which we get here.
Yeah. And you're lucky with Monaco being so small, because you are getting to people who are so high up so quickly if you want to, which is amazing. So
that's right. It's a big difference with a place like New York or London, which I know well. And you might have more, let's say, senior people, but it's very difficult to meet them just because of the size and scope of those places. But here, it's very small, and it's very easy to meet people at that level, especially with the help of Sophie and Carolyn.
So we have our own identity. It's not just a roll number in the class, and the contact is really close with the professors. It feels like you're an individual and you're having proper human contacts.
That's what we strive for.
Sure.
Any other questions?
So, do you have a list of courses we would take?
We do on the website. I believe we do have a list of the courses you'll take. I gave you the 5 main pillars, how the courses are, shall we say, blocked. So basically, of course, you'll take courses in marketing strategy, organizational behavior, global strategy, stats, finance, entrepreneurship. So yes, we do have a listing of the courses. And we also try to incorporate new courses in terms of what is topical in the world of business or in the world in general, and how does that relate to business. So courses on design thinking, courses on new trends in marketing, seminars on artificial intelligence, on blockchain, etc. So we always try to adapt our curriculum to areas which are, shall we say, topical and which have relevance to business today and or tomorrow.
Asking, who are the mentors?
Who are the mentors? I won't give out names because I don't know if I can, but we've had mentors, Executive Vice President of the Monte Carlo Société de Bain de Mer has been a mentor, the Chief Operating Officer of one of the leading real estate companies, which is not based only in Monaco, but also in London and in China. So he's the Chief Operating Officer. We've had mentors from Fendi Kaza. We've had I'm just trying to think from all the various industries, probably from most of the banks here in Monaco, from Barclays, from HSBC, Monaco Asset Management, etc. So basically the mentors, the one requirement is that they all be senior, experienced, and successful in the fields in which they excel in. And again, these fields are very much related to the profiles of our students. And as I said, a lot of them are interested in setting up their own business. So we have several entrepreneurs who serve as mentors here. or venture capital specialists who serve as mentors. Some students want to go into the field of wealth management, so we have mentors from the field of finance, asset management, wealth management, of course. Other students are interested generally, let's say, in something luxury, so we have mentors there from the leading hospitality chains, the yacht charter companies, etc.
One question. As a pharmacist, will MBA really help me to enhance my career?
Well, pharmacy is a business, right? And I think the pharmacy industry, I mean, I haven't been following it, but I think it has a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities. If you look at the online market, how retail is changing, it's also affecting the pharmacists. So absolutely. And how to run the company better, how to build your pharmacy. Yes. I mean, we've had students who are PhDs in physics. We've had students who are dentists. We've had students who are lawyers. We've had students who owned a private hotel chain in South America. And, in each case, the MBA was very, very useful because basically these are all businesses. They might not be traditional businesses, but they are, shall we say, professional activities which require growth and income generation. So yes, if you're a pharmacist, definitely an MBA would enhance your business and your career.
So,
are we sort of towards the end now, Priya? Yeah?
Yeah.
One more. We have one more question. Okay, we have time for one more.
How do you see your MBA program to help a person with BA master degree, including master of?
This is sort of the drum roll, master of.
Let me check that. Problem.
So many questions that we have to scroll
Yes.
all the way down to this.
Yeah, you can scroll up.
I mean, generally speaking, while we're still waiting with bated breath to see master of what, an MBA program can help because an MBA program is a general management program. So masters, whatever the domain they're in, are very, very specialized. And that's, on the one hand, the beauty of a master's, because it allows you to really focus in on a certain subject area or a certain function, if you like. But it doesn't necessarily allow you to see how the various subject areas and functions work together, how to integrate them in a business. And basically, if you're running a business, you have to be able to manage marketing and finance and accounting and entrepreneurship, etc. So regardless of what the master's is in, an MBA helps because it's more of a lateral integrative program as opposed to simply being a very, shall we say, specialized focus in one narrow area.
So we've got this. It's very nice to have student and alumni sharing their experiences here. Would you like to share about the networking alumni related to your career and business?
Yeah, so about the network I used afterwards. So I think after I finished the MBA, basically, there's a little time, like I had to go straight into work again. Since I was working with weddings, I had a wedding in London 2 months after my graduation. So straight into work. But then when I came back from that, I was like, okay, how am I going to now start a new company? As well as, am I going to continue doing a PhD or something like this? And the great thing was in the beginning, I could use the faculty. And actually what happened was I was going to America for 2 months on a trip. And I was saying, I was at the school for some reason, and I reached out to a few of you and to the dean here at the university. And I said, I'm going to America, and I'm kind of looking for 2 things, both the PhD and also for my new entrepreneur, or for my new company. And they put me in contact with a school in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. So when I went to San Francisco, I could go and say hi and meet some professors there. And they, again, put me in contact with people within the venture capital world. So right now I'm talking, I'm emailing and talking to this lady in San Francisco about work for my PhD process, but also that I'll then use for my new company. So this is just one of those routes from the network. And also I think you meet so many, and the thing is here, when now I live in Monaco, and when you go out the door, like you bump into people all the time. And so it's like when you're networking, it's not about necessarily the first time you meet them, but it's the second, third, fourth time you meet them, you know? So you're building up a relationship, and by just also being able to say like, I was a student at IUM, or I am at that point, it really helps for people to just come out and be like, oh, that's cool. I was too. You'll be surprised how many people in Monaco are former students from IUM. So many people. You're like, oh, so was I. I was like, okay, great. And then they're like, yeah, what are you doing? And you start working in, and yeah, and you just kind of, it becomes a whole network in itself. But I think the main thing you get out from the network and the people you meet here is you get very inspired, to be honest, because you see what people have been able to create. And there's so many amazing people here in Monaco that has done so much. So you really get inspired to work yourself and to create something. And then networking and meeting people is great. You can get help, but at the end of the day, you need to put in the work yourself and actually do the work, and then they can help you in the direction. So I think the example from like San Francisco and that is a great example of how just a little thing takes you on a course. And yeah, the people you meet here really do that.
Yeah. And again, that goes back to the fact that we're part of a large group called Group INSEC that actually has a campus in San Francisco.
Oh.
So we can also make use of that, of, you know, institutional network that we also have at our access. Okay, so I don't think we have any more time for any other questions, right? Can't see any. If you have any questions, I recommend you contact admissions@monaco.edu. And they can give you all the details about how to apply, more details on the program, fees, scholarships, et cetera, Okay. So I think that's it. Thank you very much for having joined us.
Thank you.
Come back again for our career services webinar. And on behalf of Priya, on behalf of Bree, thank you very much.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.